Nightmare's draft is looking good. A very standard front to back, kind of deal with the tanks, then go over to the back sides, right? And they have very tanky composition with the Badang. Was it a Badang they have? Badang, Lapu Lapu, and the Fredrin. The damage comes in from the Farsa, so early game, I don't think that they will have too much problem per se. All of these tanky heroes still adds up some pretty darn good damage.
So let's see, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls in the STC Gaming Hall here live in Saudi Arabia. Let's see whether or not ZETA Vision can actually take this down, or will Niightmare Esports be the ones to get to match point first? Let's head over to game number 1.
Oh, right off the bat, it seems like I did and PSK is just going to be working on, kind of small little pokes against one another. Something very different from what I was expecting. Most of the time, they will just want to clear their wave and start moving around. As you can see, Niightmare Esports, they already have gotten the control of the river, and this eventually already will mean quite a lot. Information gathering from Niightmare Esports definitely is on the top here.
But this is exactly what we predicted, right, from the drafts. A lot more river control coming from Niightmare because of the way that they have drafted. That composition is very strong, especially for that first neutral objective. I don't know whether or not ZETA Division actually want to go for the contest over that first turtle or not. But considering, I think they can play around their gold lane, right, for ZETA Division. I think that's one of the largest win cons that we're seeing right now.
Absolutely.
But in the lane, we're seeing actually Mui Minet having kind of a tough time against Cammy.
Yeah, I mean, so far, we did see in the previous series that he didn't really have a very good time, right? So hopefully, we were just definitely hoping that something would change coming in from this series now that he manages to finally pick up a Bruno for himself after being absolutely denied in the previous series. So all these change in the draft from ZETA Division is a far cry from what we have seen in yesterday's games.
And the big question is whether or not it will work out right now.
It will change anything,
is kind of low, getting poked in from the range coming in from I Did, and of course the rest of the members here who are controlling yet again still the mid trio. Rotations have been a little bit passive though for Niightmare Esports. I thought they would be playing a lot more aggressive. I guess their first... Oh, wait a second. That's a rotation coming in from I Did.
Yeah, that's the aggressiveness that you were asking for. Is a feather airstrike going up onto Mui Minet. And the flicker on forward just to land the final artillery strike to literally put Mui Minet down into the coffin. As such, the top side, the northern area, ZETA Division will now take control and seize it since Farsa is no longer around in the vicinity. 10 picks up the turtle and they will effectively win in that small little fight. But unfortunately, that's not going to be over just yet. The Fury of the Phoenix is just going to be popping right out. Kani and June 1. They overstay their welcome, and Niightmare Esports collapse down on the Kani.
Oh, okay. 2 trades happening here between both of these teams. 2 kills for a turtle. What do you think about that trade? I mean, considering we did talk about the win cons coming in from ZETA Division, the fact that Mui Minet is going to be a very important staple player in this game, the fact that they were able to take him down early means that the Moskov will have a better time to get to his power spike. But they lost control over the turtle.
Yep, slightly better time, right? So Niightmare Esports is super value just bringing the Bruno down. You effectively slow his pop-off timing a little bit more. So ZETA Division responded with, okay, since we are already down by value, we gotta have to do something, right? So at least getting the turtle is still a little bit better rather than having nothing at all for themselves.
Because I thought they would completely just leave that and let Niightmare Esports take it, but Niightmare Esports...
That's a huge risk.
That was a decision that they were trying to make, right? Did they want to go for turtle instead, or did they want to go for the pick into the bottom lane? But they chose the bottom lane.
Yep. Personally, I would say that if they're able to stop ZETA Division's Mui Minet from popping off earlier, that is absolutely the direction I would go. To drag on the game a little bit longer, not allowing Mui Minet to hit critical mass. So just yielding and losing the turtle is nothing as compared to getting a kill onto Mui Minet.
I mean, it looks like they do still hold on to the gold control anyway, right? 4 minutes in, Niightmare Esports, they have 1,000 gold ahead of ZETA Division at the moment. But again, it goes back to very passive rotations. I think Niightmare Esports are the ones to try to test the tempo here, especially now. We do see I Did already in a position. Do they want to go for a pick onto June 1?
Oh, I Did actually popped himself right out of the brush just a tad a little bit, forced to expand the flicker, but he's in the safe spot as his artillery strike will be more than enough to bring June 1 down.
Really great setup now for Niightmare Esports to pick up this neutral objective. We do see some rotations coming in from Kani to give vision and information over to the team. But the fact that they already have that kill in their belts, they have a man advantage. Let's see, too easy for Lexi get this done.
He's going to be right smack in front of the turtle, ready to create some turtle soup for his team. But it does seem like the fist crack is just, or rather, fist break is going to land right on top of ZETA Division. But unfortunately, the Appraiser's Wrath is not going to land on anyone. 10 finds himself taken down, while, of course, Kani had to AOG right out.
Look at that. Niightmare Esports finding their momentum here in game number 1 in this best-of-3 series against the Jap rep, but they're not done.
This SOD lands on the Muiminet, and even I did coming in as well. This is some range that Niightmare has.
Range and gold lead, right? 2,000 now for Niightmare Esports, and it looks like they're looking for more. Already a lot to say there in the bottom side of the map. It looks like Cammy will be able to pick up that tower as well. By Lucy, also really good zoning control over on to June 1. So things are looking really good for Niightmare Esports right now. ZETA, they're falling behind.
This is actually kind of unfortunate for ZETA Division. With all 3 turtles popping at the northern area, there is absolutely no reason for ZETA Division to find opportunity to actually go down to the bottom lane, which is originally the gold lane, to bring any assistance to Muiminet. So now he's kind of forced to a certain situation where I think that Bruno, he have to swap lanes, but I don't think that they are doing exactly that, as now we do have a fight that went in. June 1 actually managed to successfully get a hit down and get killed down on the I did, while the SOD lands right on top of 10, allowing Cammy to join into the battlefield, forced to flicker right out of Tarn's range. But June 1, he's still not going to be stopping. Very relentless fight onto Bayer Lucy. He's stuck between 3. As such, he will go down, allowing ZETA Division to pick off 2.
And now this is ZETA Division saying that they're not going to go down without a fight. By Lucy gets taken out, and it looks like they're going to get a little bit more here, a little bit more of a trade, as the tower will be the target. Jasmine, though, will be able to clear, so they still have that protected. Now, once again, it would be really great to see how the direction has been for the gold laners, because again, I think that Bruno does really well early game,
yes,
and then really well late game.
Yep.
But the mid game is where the Bruno kind of falls off.
Yeah, so the problem is ZETA Division's Bruno didn't even hit critical mass at all. He haven't even gotten the items required for him to join into the battles here. But it appears he's going to be joining in, as 10 manages to get a turtle down for himself. Too easy for Lexi, takes a quick slide away, while I did pops himself right behind and just going to be working with the feathered airstrike. Didn't seem like we'll be able to get too much kills, but it's already 4 men down for the start of ZETA Division, leaving Piske all alone. But the question is, why was Piske right in the face of I did?
Exactly, right? What is going on? That was essentially a turtle steal coming in from ZETA Division, and Niightmare Esports, they became upset. They were angry, and they were able to get that wiped out here in the 7th minute of the game, and look at them translating it over into the next few objectives. But ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we are going into a technical pause, but just kidding.
No,
just kidding.
not at all. Teasing
jokes,
you guys.
all good.
It's just that.
Yeah.
We wanted to show you the stage for a tad a little bit.
Yeah, you have to see the stage. It's amazing.
Exactly, it's amazing. Now, I have a small little theory. I'm not too sure whether that's true. Maybe they already lost that. Maybe they already lost or didn't manage to use the AOG onto I did. So they thought, hey, we really need to do something about this feathered airstrike. He's really painful. And Piske is just like, you know what? I have passive. He flickers forward and try to bump him out of his feathered airstrike.
What is that damage? The abstract Suke gets completely obliterated from that feather airstrike coming in from I did.
Oh man, I did. This guy has got damage. Lethal in Nation, 6 kills, 1 death and 5 assists. Nothing is realistically going to be stopping I did at this point in time, really. Most of the members coming in from the side of ZETA Division is stuck because they are 5,000 goal behind.
This is a problem. This is a problem. And on top of that, right, Lethal Ignition as well to just, I would say, amplify that damage. We're looking at the damage dealt rankings here. Look at that. By Lucy is actually the one on top.
Oh! Jasmine! Catching 2 when it comes down to the bang and crack plus the flicker combination, and it just seems like things are going great. As Niightmare Esports, they did suffer a little bit of damage, but it's not going to bring anyone down just yet, unless by Lucy actually goes down there.
10-10.
Muiminet picks up that kill, but it does seem like too easy for Lexi. He is well on his chase against the soccer player, earning him that triple kill. The game's not over, the fight's not over, because now Niightmare Esports have a pushing lane, and that's the holy defense popped off with IDID getting himself the flicker and the 7th kill of the game.
That is some crazy damage that Niightmare Esports are portraying here in these team fights. And unfortunately for ZETA Division, it has been a little bit scrappy. The positioning coming in from Muiminet earlier on, unfortunately, as he went into the right side of the map, gave Niightmare Esports the opportunity to take him down. That's a free lord in for Niightmare Esports, and that's some damage coming in from IDID. 718 right now, with only 3 items, Abstract.
And speaking of which,
items.
Bruno's only got 2. He's not even there. And we are currently 10 minutes into the game. We are almost approaching late game, and he's still in early to mid game kind of equipment. And as a marksman that thrive in snowball, this is not going to their direction. Jun1 does not have the damage. Piske also does not have too much damage. He's a nuker, but hey, there we go. Kani with the AOG landing right on the IDID will effectively cancel out the feathered airstrike. But now all eyes on 10. They're trying to get a kill down to 10, but successfully the Thorn Rose gets himself right out of that ditch. But unfortunately, it does seem like it's Niightmare Esports. They will lose by Lucy. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Piske almost down, but a flicker backwards allows him to get out of dodge. But the fight's still going on. IDID finally manages to get his feathered airstrike after a very long and drawn-out fight.
This has been so difficult for ZETA Division in these team fights because of the lack of range and how much damage IDID keeps doing. And remember, Cammy already has those 3 items, so look at that damage that he's putting.
What?
That's half health onto Suka, and to make things worse, he has a Malefic gun, so additional range that they can utilize as they go for the siege into the final inhibitor turrets of ZETA Division.
As the creep marches down from the top lane, it does seem like the Phobius wants some tea. As such, he's almost went down to the Appraisal's Red, but in the end of the day, he's still down over to the side of Cammy. At least they managed to get a shutdown on Too Easy for Lexi. They managed to defend the T3 up top.
But remember, that shutdown is still onto Suke, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, at least he got some nukes. He can nuke.
Okay, we'll see how this progresses, but as it stands, I mean, ZETA Division are so far behind. This is an 8,000 gold lead for, wait a second, that's a damage coming through. Muiminet already at half health. That feather airstrike is a problem. Okay.
But
4th item already built in. We do see the lightning truncheon come to play now.
Mm-hmm. But I think that at this point in time, the more and the longer that this game lasts, the less effective IDID will be from this point, right? We gotta have to also remember that Muiminet may not be very strong in the mid stages of the game, or rather on a normal curve, mid stages of the game. However, we are of course approaching the point in time where Muiminet can get full item, and once he's fully item slotted, he already have the Malefic gun as well. He can be a menace in the end game.
I think it really depends. Because at this point, even if Muiminet gets to his power spike, will we even get to that point is number 1. And number 2, if IDID keeps looking for positions like this, angles like this, to take Muiminet down even before they go for a team fight, before Muiminet is able to even dish out that damage with the basic attacks, then I think IDID will still be a very important, imperative factor in these team fights. I mean, look at the way that he's positioning now.
I think his positioning is actually going to be key. If Niightmare Esports is able to kind of push ZETA Division down to the middle lane, which is exactly what they're trying to do, right? They clear out midway fast enough. The moment that someone expends every single one of his skill, then that's probably going to be their time to pop out. But this is actually going to be a little bit risky as well. But hold on a second, take a look at this. We do have a free creep wave just going to be marching in from the middle and the bottom lane. There we go. Thorn Rose, Phantom Execution, all of them are used, even when it comes down to SOD. Unfortunately misses, but IDID, this guy is a man on a mission like he's possessed, only to be sandwiched out by the members of ZETA Division. Finally. Farsa's dead.
I'm glad that happened, right? Because that man shouldn't be able to do that, right? This is a Farsa against a Lancelot, for crying out loud.
That's a plain disrespect.
Biggest disrespect I've seen in MSC Wildcard so far. I mean, What is that? All right, he finally gets shut down, and unfortunately, it will go into the hands of 10. Earlier on, 10 was quite behind in farm and EXP against Too Easy for Lexi, but luckily now 10 is actually caught up 15-15. But still, they do need to clear out these waves as soon as possible. The Lord is still marching in the mid lane, and remember, Niightmare Esports are working with that much range.
And now is AOG joining into the battle, but unfortunately June1 is a little bit too deep now. They are trying to bring down Too Easy for Lexi, which they will be able to successful to do. June1, he bought enough time. They managed to push everyone else away and keep the main core members from ZETA Division at home.
And luckily for ZETA Division, that inhibitor turret that they had still standing has not yet fallen. And considering that the Lord is going to be spawning on the opposite side of the map, this is something that they can utilize in the next Lord dance. But it looks like Niightmare Esports are still looking for something.
It does seem like things are going to be pretty awry for the side of the ZETA Division. It is, of course, the feather airstrike that's already been gone and done, but there's still another good defense from ZETA Division. They can drag this.
All right, they go for the disengage. All right, they don't want to make mistakes here. They don't want to give the momentum back into the hands of ZETA Division, considering that gold lead that we were talking about has actually shrunken, right? Earlier it was, what, 8,000 gold lead for Niightmare? It's now, I can't count, 5,000. There you go.
Now. It's 5,000 now. But right now, honestly, that feather airstrike is practically free. We're constantly seeing that feather airstrike, and even for Piscay that's playing as the Zetian, her Fury of the Phoenix have got a way longer cooldown as compared to the feather airstrike. So they gotta have to stagger a couple of some of these skills. Someone gotta have to be the one that stops Farsa, or someone else gotta have to, you know, kind of wait for the next one.
Let's see what happens here.
As such, Fury of the Phoenix but gets themselves some vision. They're focusing themselves on the Jasmine. Takes one down. Great start. As now the Lord will be popping down in 30 seconds. Perfect timing, because Jasmine will not be here in time unless both teams decide to dance it off.
Yeah, they need to buy time now, right? They don't want to go in for a 5v4. We can see that Cammy is trying to buy a little bit more time by pushing out that top lane as well. So things are still looking okay for Niightmare Esports, but they have to be careful with these things, right? It takes 1, 2, 3 moments, and we've seen actually only one moment for things to turn completely around for them. So Niightmare Esports have been holding on for the control, but they need to stay consistent. Too easy.
This is their window. This is the only one of the only point in time whereby the Lord is not on the opposite of his hard lane. As such, I did! One of the core members from the side of Niightmare Esports has already been blasted into oblivion. Now the Lord is currently lower than half HP. Currently takes the stride and is going to be put himself right in the center. Gets a good taunt down onto Jasmine. As such, with break and crack down. Mui Minette, the next one that will go down. 10 picks up the kill over to the Lord. And now he slides himself right out of the battle, only for himself to puncture through the wave of creeps, trying to buy a little bit more time. But what will that do for him?
This is crazy, right? 10 single-handedly, despite him getting taken down, kind of improve the odds for ZETA Division to stay in this game. They still have the Lord, so they do have a little bit more control over these next few waves, but looks like Niightmare Esports want to end this here and there.
Not the way that you want to go down as Piscay, as now you will have another one of these stars that will land out of the June. Unfortunately for the start of ZETA Division, they may have the Lord, but Niightmare Esports is literally threatening their power right in their homes. The Lord will be shut down this quickly, and Niightmare Esports is right in the face of ZETA Division with Kani coming into the next one. He's going to be melted down almost instantaneously, and the next wave of creeps is just going to be coming down to the bottom side real quickly, and Niightmare Esports will shove it right in their face and take game 1.
Match point in for Niightmare Esports, representing Mekong there from Laos. What a statement.
Wow.
What a game.
Nightmare. At one point in time, I really hoped and thought that ZETA Division could have done something, right? Because we were coming to the late stages of the game. Everyone that needed a farm already has the farm. And it's all about the execution, and they even managed to get a kill down onto I did. Early on to the Lord's fight, they don't have to lose any more members. We've got 10 that managed to take the Lord. However, he decided to kind of like swing all the way backwards and kind of buy more time against Too Easy for Lexi, which I think didn't really quite do anything.
I agree, but I think, again, it was very difficult to execute without the proper tools.
Yeah.
They wanted to go for the Bruno in the gold lane, makes sense. But then they didn't have mid-trio prio.
Yes. They also didn't have any form of opportunity for them to go down to the bottom lane to, engage in a battle where Bruno will be able to join in, right? As Bruno is an early game marksman, unlike any other marksman, you're kind of encouraged to join battles kind of early so that you can kind of pop off, get yourself a little bit of that snowball. But in this game, every single one of these turtles were toward the northern side. And Muiminet is always being targeted with the superior mobility coming in from the Farsa.
I didn't necessarily blame them for kind of losing control over these objectives, right? Because I think that's what the Fredrin has an advantage with the Farsa as well in the mid lane. So they're able to clear a lot quicker. They're able to rotate a lot faster as well. But why didn't they play for Muiminet? That was the one thing that I couldn't really get my head around.
That's my question as well. It's one thing for the objective to not play towards your lane, but during those down times of the turtle, they haven't really been visiting Muiminet down in the bottom lane. In fact, he has been completely all alone. Their own jungle is completely wide open and no information whatsoever. I think that they are overexpending their resources on the opposite side of the map, thinking that, hey, if we put 4 members up to the northern side of the map, then maybe the opponents, like Niightmare Esports, will echo back and say, okay, if they have 4, will you put 4? And we'll try to fight it out, kind of thing.
Yeah, makes sense.
Only for them to realize, oh crap, they're actually going for Muiminet.
So it feels like they were a little bit confused as well. Oh man, I think we might have underestimated Niightmare Esports.
Definitely, their series against VP did not tell their story.
I mean, we did mention that in the beginning, to be fair.
Yes, to be fair.
Okay?
To be fair, okay.
So let's get the few cents coming in from Gideon. Gideon, what did you think about game number 1?
Oh, that was game. That was a little messy, I'm not gonna lie, because I think the biggest problem that I'm seeing here from the side of wildcards, teams don't recognize how far ahead they actually are. Like, that was a pretty big winning scenario for Niightmare. Like, I did so much damage. I did literally almost everything.
You did?
I did.
Oh, the player.
That's why he's got one of the best IGNs. I love it. I was thinking about it in the back the whole time, riffing off as many lines as I could. But he was in a phenomenal position. It's really strange to see when you have, well, not even him. Everybody else was actually pretty far ahead. Even their gold laner was in a really good position. I'm just surprised they didn't close out the game sooner, and it dragged out to a point where they started to make some pretty silly mistakes as well. I did is dealing with 10 all the way in his base and then misses the ability to get squished. The fact that he's positioned himself in an awkward flank angle during the last Lord take that 10 was able to steal away, that could have gotten a lot worse if Tsuke was just playing a tad bit better. The ult timings definitely were not as good as I was hoping it would be. I don't know. It feels like Niightmare, they got away with a lot, but Zeta Division definitely had opportunities to punish as well. So weighing the odds, generally a pretty messy game for me. That's me though, that's me. But for you guys, what do you think are some of the bigger adjustments that need to be made? Because, I mean, considering how inconsistent both teams are, and I think that Niightmare probably has the better early to mid game, it's the late game that I'm most worried about if it does ever get there, if Zeta have a scaling style of comp.
Honestly, for Zeta Division, I think that they just need, if they favor that Bruno, they have to play with the Bruno and for the Bruno. They left him alone a little bit too much. We talked about that previously. And as for Niightmare, I think they're fine. Just don't play with the food. That's all.
I think it's overhype.
Like, we're so close to the win,
right? Like, I can do this. Guys, let me do this.
Boy,
okay, what
I
if?
did a thing.
What if I do this?
Because that would be definitely like clipped.
Yeah.
It's a clippable moment if he was able to get 10.
He
right?
was. It was going to be a clippable moment. Guys, we're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, we might just see the conclusion, a team go home, or we're going to see the full series, baby. Let us know what you guys think about either one of these teams in the chat and some of their adjustments. We're going to go on a short break. When we come back, more MLBB action.
This land is calling.
We now come to match point for Niightmare Esports. ZETA Division are now on their last potential game. They could look to even it out, but if they get eliminated now, a lot of hearts are going to go out to the Japanese region. This might just be a Daijobu moment for the team. Keep calm, keep steady. Niightmare Esports also make mistakes. My name is Gideon Q. Welcome back, everybody, to the Wildcards, our very final series of the day. The elimination match of a lifetime here at day number 2 of the Wildcards, here at 2025 Esports World Cup live in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We've got our casters at the ready as well, Abstract as well as Eterna. Let's bring them in here because this is really, really important. We've seen that there are holes in both the gameplays of Niightmare Esports alongside with ZETA Division. Do you think that if they can curb them, especially if you're in ZETA's position, let's just fix our early mid?
Fix the rotations. That is
Fix the rotations?
That's probably the main thing for me, right?
I would say WinCon is more than...
I was supposed
Drafts.
to play towards their win con.
Drafts?
Drafts.
What? What was weird about that draft in game 1?
Oh, like drafts and WinCon, like together.
I see. That's fair. That's fair. It's an important adjustment to make, but at the same time, it feels like Niightmare Esports, they got the better... I mean, the experience is starting to show here.
As much as I really want to see ZETA Division be able to pull off what they did in match 1, game 1, I'm not sure whether we'll see the same thing, right? Maybe Hayabusa back onto 10 to just kind of show off a little bit. I don't think that they will get that opportunity to play Uranus again. But if they want to play along that range of having a Uranus just kind of dominating the EXP lane, dominating the opponent's jungle, it has to be Lapu Lapu is one thing, Slugfest, or Yuzhong. Yuzhong, in fact, hasn't been seen for a long time. And in fact, for the side of our boys here in ZETA Division, I think that they have actually focused on Yuzhong bans in match 1, game 1, and game 2. So technically, they know the power of Yuzhong, but they haven't played that yet.
Well, if we're thinking about the EXP potential ways to kind of stop Farsa, stop abilities going through, I was thinking, why not go to one of the safer EXP laners, right? Why not just go into the Terizla? I feel like the penalty zone is such a big game changer, especially considering that a majority of the fights that we've seen happen around the neutral objectives in the first place, right?
I would definitely say so, yeah. I'm just not too sure if the Terizla have a spot in the lane right now, given the meta heroes that is currently available.
I mean, sure. I mean, if it's like a Uranus matchup, I'll say, yeah, throw the Terizla in there, that's fine. If it's CC, it's like, ooh, maybe not. We might need to diverge away, but let's attack the draft first. So far, Farsa has just been a menace, an absolute menace. Based on what we've seen here at the Wildcards thus far, we have seen ZETA kind of come into play because of that, but Yusuke doesn't feel very comfortable on it. So therefore, where do we go?
Shift the focus away from Piske to deal with the Farsa. back to the XP, as you were mentioning. I think, okay, Terizla, one thing, Yuzhong, the next one. Anyone that have a very reliable stun to kind of deal with a stationary target, take that burden away from Piske. Let Piske be the one that deals damage a little bit more in order for them to kind of encapsulate the early stages of the game.
But I think in order for that to happen, we have to go back to the basics. We have to go back to the draft. So let's say ZETA still come into blue side, which that's what I was about to mention. Why the Irrital?
I mean, it'll be interesting, but it's up to you guys. I'll let you guys handle the jab. I'm walking away from this. Good luck and goodbye. It's a turn up. Abstract, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Gideon, for helping us out there earlier on. But it looks like the same bans are still going to be rolling through. I think one of the main things that will be different this time around is the Jushin ban from ZETA. It's not the Boxia. So the Boxia is still up for grabs. I think they're putting Niightmare in a spot here. What do they want to ban out? Because technically if they go for a ban onto the Farsa, they're going to be able to pick the Boxia. If they ban out the Boxia, they can pick up the Farsa for themselves, perhaps.
Quite a lot of heroes is currently open, actually. The only few things that we really gotta mention is the fact that June 1 or maybe June 8, I'm not too sure which is the right one, but the Uranus is not possible. But instead, for the side of ZETA, they have decided, you know what, let's pick up the Farsa. Let's get ourselves a couple of high ground and just force Niightmare into us, and we'll answer the question later afterwards.
I like this, yeah.
So now we have the Boxia. Exactly what you were kind of loosely mentioning about having the Boxia, having the which one kind of goes in first. How are we going to tackle into the to the crux of the issue? Boxia is still a 3-role flex hero. Doesn't really tell us the full story.
But there are a lot of ways to counter it, right? We've seen the CC being a big problem for the Boxia. Kimi is an option, but technically they've already went in for the Farsa instead. We're looking at heroes like maybe the carry potentially to kind of be able to stop this Boxia and his presence, especially in the early stage of the game. But I do agree, these are some flex picks coming in from Niightmare that they are going to be able to utilize over ZETA.
Yep.
With the Arlet, who technically is still also flex.
Yep, it's a very difficult question. It's a very difficult thing to ask, right? But I don't think that we'll see another XP. Oh crap! No, you can still see an XP. Considering the fact that Boxia, if he were to go to jungle, Arlet goes over to Rome, then you can have an additional XP later join into the mix for Niightmare. But ZETA Division, they still absolutely love their Bruno. So Bruno plus Farsa, pretty good combination. I kind of have a feeling that they might want to play a Fredrin here. It kind of feels like it has been a natural combo, having a Fredrin plus the Farsa.
It makes sense. I like the adaptations here. I like that you mentioned it as well, right? Because last time it was very difficult for the Bruno to get to the point where he was supposed to get because they didn't have mid-trio prio. So now with the Farsa in the helms, they didn't have to ban it in the first phase. Turns out they take it for themselves. With the Lapu Lapu, this shows that if the Lapu Lapu can get that level 4 ASAP before the turtle, they should be able to have control over the neutral objective take 2 if they have the Fredrin. So for Niightmare, I think Fredrin might be banned out in the second phase, depending on what this next pick will be. Do they go for something like the Valentina, the Zetian, to kind of... Oh! They deny away the Hayabusa and pick it up for themselves. And it's a considerable threat to Bruno as well as the Farsa.
Yep, so backlines, be wary. How are they gonna be dealing with this Hayabusa is ultimately gonna be the main question. Now, the fact that we still have flexibility on the side of the Boxia as well as the Arlet kind of forces ZETA Division to a point that, okay, we definitely gotta ban mages, because it's kind of tough to tackle the next one, right? There is actually, gold lane. Yeah, never mind. So it's already decided. One of them will be XP, one of them will be Rome, so they're lacking of mage and gold lane.
The Kimi gets banned. I think that's a very smart ban. Really good control as well in the early stage of the game. Plus they already have the Boxia, so they already have peel for the Kimi if it was picked up for themselves. ZETA sniffed this out, and they also deny the Granger, who technically would also have a good time against the Bruno in the early portions. Lancelot also gets respected away. What do ZETA want to do here? Do they want to go for something crazy like the Fanny?
If they
Or
want to
stay
play
Fredrin?
if they want to play early game, Fredrin is always going to be a pretty good choice. They need kind of strong front lines. They need some priority. Oh, I don't really like that. It is going to be Cammy back onto that Harif. But Diggy! Wait. Okay, so at least the Fred and Dig came out, but Diggy. Diggy can be very annoying. It gives you vision across the map when it comes down to these brushes, but when it comes down to crowd control, the time journey doesn't necessarily do too much for your team because Niightmare, when it comes down to crowd control, is only the final slash. And by the time you pop off of your time journey, you are already at the final destination of the final slash.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, is it just...
And the Gold
What?
Laner doesn't put out any form of crowd control.
Exactly. Very interesting. I think we'll think about it just a little bit more. But the Harith pick coming into the lineup and the Yeve as well.
Okay.
Into the Diggy.
Okay.
Yeve into the
Diggy. This is scary, right? This is one of the trifecta lineup, except that we don't have the tri part. Having the Yeve or a Juicin playing into the Harith will always be good because they just want to play area denial. Just deny as much area as possible. But one thing that we need to remember is that real world manipulation lacks the range against the feathered airstrike. So whoever pops the ultimate first ultimately will be the one on the losing end, mage to mage.
Hey, we wanted an entertaining game, right? So we are going to get an entertaining game with the Yeve. I like that because I agree with you. I think right now, Niightmare are in a position where they want to play with their hitboxes, right? So if Niightmare can create a team fight where ZETA are caught in their boxes, both the box of the Shaman Force and the box of the real world manipulation, this could go in favor of Niightmare, but the problem still remains. Harith, 0% win rate, takes a lot of time to get to that power spike. So let's just get straight into the Land of Dawn.
Okay, so at least for the start of ZETA division, I can kind of understand and see why they favored the Diggy here. Because whenever they saw that Cammy picked up that Harith, they understand, okay, area denial is probably going to be the way to go for Niightmare Esports. That means locking down onto crowd control and all that kind of jazz is going to be something great for Niightmare. As they can't react over to the final pick of Niightmare, their blind pick would to pick up that Diggy in order to always get themselves out of very clutch situations such as choke points. It's always guaranteed for them to run out with CC immunity and shields.
I agree, and moreover, I still think that the Yeve pick into the Diggy is
Wait, why
kind
is
of
he
odd.
losing lane? Fasa shouldn't be losing in lane against Yeve that much, is she?
I mean, technically, they do have a little bit more spam ability, I guess, from coming from the Yeve. I think maybe the way that they've been
mobility and
playing it
all.
has been a little bit better, maybe. But look at this, too easy. Already looking for something here in the bottom side of the map, but doesn't commit onto it.
Forces out the retribution from the side of 10, also leaving 10 at level 3. So that is definitely going to be a small little problem for ZETA, but it's not too bad because they can always enter into the next fight, or rather enter into the turtle fight with a level 4 Fredrin anyways. The only problem is if they were to drag out for level 5. There's, you found out something.
I had a eureka moment.
Oh.
This is the classic Bruno-Diggy combination.
Oh, right.
The babysitting Diggy Bruno. So that's the idea, right? We were talking about how Muiminette wasn't able to get to that point, and so they choose a support to kind of aid Muiminette to get to the point to play around the Bruno. That's why
So
in
that is
Turtle
the
number
answer.
1, they let it go, because that's not the point that they're trying to go for. They're going back to the win cons, and they're playing for this Bruno.
Okay, then that sounds very sound, in fact. The fact that Muiminette has never been able to win in his lanes in the first series and the second, and the fact that they played the Bruno now, they need to definitely put some resources up in the goal lane. And we were even talking about for the fact that, look, they didn't send any reinforcement over to Bruno. So why not we keep one person in the goal lane? Okay.
But then everything else will suffer. So, because we haven't seen this in so long, Abstract. I think it's been a couple years since we've seen this combination.
I don't even remember this.
Exactly, right?
I know about
so
babysitting
long.
service, but not exactly onto a Diggy, because in this case and in this game, the first thing you think about is crowd control, immunity. That's the first thing whenever you look at a Diggy. Because technically speaking, if we want to take a look at a babysitting, there is Rafaela, there's Florin, which actually will work pretty great for this team, actually.
And funnily enough, coming into the MSC wildcards, we haven't even seen any of those support heroes.
Exactly.
Which were actually, top on the block. But wait a second.
RWM is just going to be popped right out, but unfortunately for the side of Niightmare Esports, PSK as well as 10 ran away pretty effectively, even when Niightmare has expended 3 ultimate.
So they haven't been able to pick up anything other than that neutral objective, right? Rotations still not working into their favor. I think there's something going to be happening here in the top side of the map, but no, too easy. He doesn't commit.
No bueno. No catch coming in from 10. But speaking of which, this is still kind of like an early game thing that we want from ZETA Division. They can, of course, drag as much as they want, but they are still technically going to be on a tad bit of a timer. But unfortunately, too easy for Lexi, looking for an opportunity on the PSK.
Not getting it, though. Just going to force a wings by wings there as another rotation happens here for the side of Niightmare. And again, that's their main focus here. They're going for the neutral objective again. Turtle number 2, which should fall in favor with them with absolutely no contest coming in from ZETA, who meanwhile on the other side of the map are looking for a cross-map play, looking for a pick onto Cammy.
If they do have a babysitting Digi for Mui Minette, then I really hope that Mui Minette goes for the Berserker's Fury's first item, just so that they will have that power spike super early into the game. As such, it is going to be the time rewind. It's just going to be connecting down onto Jasmine, takes him down pretty effectively. In the meantime, we also do have got the time journey popping right out. Not going to be enough for Kani to stay alive, though. Cammy is completely untouched throughout the entire ordeal. Jun1 joins into the fray. He does have the bravest warriors going about, but unfortunately, I don't think that they have enough damage. Mui Minette actually flickers himself right into the RWM, but that is quite a bit of kills that ZETA Division managed to net for themselves.
Very aggressive flicker there coming in from Mui Minette. Luckily, at this point, I think IDID's damage is not quite there.
Not there.
So, not punished, and yet they were still able to take control over the kill onto By Lucy. But remember, those were a lot of resources expended by ZETA Division there just to get By Lucy down. Meanwhile, Niightmare going to be able to pick up that turret in the bottom side of the map, thanks to Too Easy for Lexi.
Yep, IDID still have a lot of farm to his name as compared to the Farsa. Farsa having only 2.2 thousand gold, and damn, the Yip with 3.4. So in terms of the power spike, IDID definitely will still be a lot more valuable.
We'll see. That's the Filipino experience showing through here from the side of Niightmare Esports. They're still gonna put some pressure here onto the top side of the map. It looks like Cammy is aided as well in that particular venture. Jasmine by Lucy. That's a concealed play. Are they going to go for it?
Wants to go for the proxy, but not going to crash onto anyone just yet. But Niightmare Esports managed to zone the ZETA Division out of the T1 turret, effectively allowing them to get the second T1 turret.
Another trade that they're going to be able to pick up for themselves. And when it comes down to the next neutral objective, it is going to spawn in under 1 second. And Too Easy for Lexi is at level 10.
Oh
so,
no,
wait a second.
Mui Minette! He got caught, but never mind. He managed to turn things around. Managing to get a kill down onto Cammy. A little bit too quick on the trigger. It was a mistake from Mui Minette, only to turn it otherwise.
That's a time journey for you, right? The ability to go for the cover. That's why Mui Minette went in for Flicker instead. But look at this.
It is the turtle that will be going to the hands of 10. Niightmare Esports realizes that, okay, we lost the turtle, we gotta fall back.
He's a level below of Too Easy for Lexi. Still gonna be able to get that retribution down. That's very interesting.
This is kind of rough for Niightmare, but it's okay because they still have pretty good skilling over to the later stages. The timer is actually more on ZETA Division, in my honest opinion, unless they go late into the game where PSK as well as June has PSK and Mui Minette has enough farm to kind of max themselves out.
I wonder what happens, right? Late game Bruno, late game Harith. Let's say both get to that late game power spike. Who wins in that 1v1?
Honestly, I would still say that it is Bruno. Bruno really hits like an absolute truck. However, one of the big difference is that if Cammy actually builds Wind of Nature against Mui Minette, while in the meantime Mui Minette cannot build a Wind of Nature against Cammy. But in the most realistic fashion is not about the marksman against the marksman. It's about more of what are the threats that are going to the marksman, which in this case, Too Easy for Lexi, he can actually go for Mui Minette, which we might be able to see at this point in time, because Too Easy for Lexi is currently slowly making his way over. Did not manage to get a kill down on the By Lucy, though with great taunt, as long as time rewind on to Jasmine, the Appraiser's Wrath, just absolutely floor it down over to the side of Jasmine.
It feels like Niightmare Esports time and time again are forcing fights out of ZETA Division when Cammy's nowhere in a position to deal out the damage that he's supposed to, right? So I wonder why they keep going for it. Technically, there is damage coming in from Too Easy for Lexi, but I think maybe a little bit more time would be warranted to get to that point to allow Cammy to get to the power spike. BuyLucy goes in again.
They really want to take down the T1 turret here. It is going to be BuyLucy that overcommits into that fight, just hoping that he'll be able to throw his body just to ensure the survivability of the T1 turret.
I don't know, but this has happened more than once, Abstract. BuyLucy going in first, no backup, no follow-up.
It has been a consistent pattern, right?
Funny timing as well.
I think that he's undervaluing himself.
Undervaluing?
Yeah, he's undervaluing himself to the point that, hey, you know what? Even if I die, it's fine because I'm protecting something else, such as a turret.
That's so sad. But meanwhile, looks like ZETA are quick on their feet here, already opening up the Lord.
Oh my god, it's actually a battle of the mages. 1-for-1 trade going on about. But unfortunately, ZETA Division actually gets the Lord as they now move on to the next target. Jasmine taking a little bit too much soccer balls into the face. As a rewind time, he's just going to be touching onto Jasmine, and Muiminette takes the last hit on top of him as well. We even do have Cammy that actually dropped down the Zaman Force. Unfortunately, that's not going to do too much for them.
Things are going wrong for Niightmare Esports. Ladies and gentlemen, here in game number 2, already at match point, just need to steal the deal. But unfortunately, they haven't been getting their way in these team fights. IDID gets taken out right before they even allow the real world manipulation to hit its mark. And so the value of the team fight becomes not there, non-existent. ZETA Division 1-for-3 trade. They have a Lord marching down as well into the bottom side of the map.
Nightmare Division, Nightmare Esports, they really gonna have to be really adaptable at this point in time.
What?
The amount of catches the ZETA Division have got for themselves is a little bit too much for Jasmine to follow up on. As such, Nightmare, it is a 4v6 situation right now. We do have Biscuit that will be popping up with that feathered airstrike to hopefully be able to zone everyone else away. But this is a T3 turret in the bottom lane, almost going down. Massive bonus already.
That's so much damage as well from the side of ZETA Division, and it looks like they are looking for more here. Looking for yet another siege.
Pisque finds himself tough spot, but he has a lot of shields. We got Too Easy for Lexi, comes in from the back. He found the opportunity. Brings down Pisque down. 10 may be able to get a kill down on IDID, but it is going to be a trade, leaving June, the last member remaining.
4-for-1 trade there, Abstract. I think ZETA stayed a little bit too long there, and Niightmare Esports were able to capitalize over it from the get-go. They're punishing the mistakes from ZETA. They wanted to end it as soon as possible. They wanted that final tower, but wait a second. June 1 is all alone here. Niightmare Esports going to be able to rush through mid, and that's another tower falling in favor of Laos.
Now the thing is, for ZETA Division wanting so bad that T3 turret, I can't naturally blame them because technically they are on a timer, right? But unfortunately, it's still a little bit of a greedy case because Niightmare, yes, they did lose Jasmine. That is kind of an opportunity, but you still cannot take away the fact that Niightmare Esports, they still have got a pretty good goal lead for themselves.
With that gold lead, I'd love to see the items. I'd love to see how far Cammy is when it comes down to it. Oh,
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. And there it is. The 3 items are built in. I think Divine Glaive would be the very next if they want to go for a little bit more of a greedy build.
Yeah.
But with the Holy Crystal already in the hands of Cammy and not too much magic defense, I think this could be the moment where Niightmare Esports find their mark.
Okay, so right now I think that if it's going to be a mage versus mage fight, I don't think that IDID is going to have too much issues dealing with the feathered airstrike, given that he's got the blood wings now. But regardless, with the Lord currently spawned down to the bottom lane, with a Hayabusa onto the side of Niightmare Esports, they got to adapt, right? Because this is essentially an ube from ZETA Division. There's not much things that Too Easy for Lexi can do with his Ogi Shadow Kill. So as much as possible, if he's able to find an avenue, kind of push down the opposite lane, trying to apply a little bit of pressure through macro, it would be great. But in the meantime, there we go. It does seem like both of the mages decided to pop their own individual ultimate while June goes into the back trying to deal with IDID to stop him as much as possible. But Too Easy for Lexi is going to be the one to go down from the side of Niightmare Esports. But ZETA Division will lose 3. Nightmare pushes their way through. They don't have much of the follow-up to try to stop Tens or June. So they are going to be focusing on to the next. This is just going to be a wet noodle fight and Tens will just casually walk away.
Wow, 3-for-1 trade already, and it looks like they're looking for more here. 2v1. Can 10 get out in time.
Oh, they are just ensuring that 10 will not be able to recall back home because that Zaman Force will drop that T3 turret in the middle lane so easily. And 10 is currently kind of stuck there.
Luckily for them, they still have control over the Lord, so there is still a little bit more time, and Nightmare will not be able to end it here and there it is. Abstract. That's the next item, Divine Glaive, already built in. So even the frontliners in June, in 10, they're going to start to feel it because despite that Radiant armor, that Divine Glaive should be able to burst through it.
Yep.
And again, we were talking about Mui Minette earlier on. Yep. Remember when he made that flicker play? Very aggressive.
Yep.
They were able to get Bai Lucy down, but he did it again into Cammy, who's already at this amount of items. So he got taken down, he got punished for it. And again, these mistakes are going to be continuously utilized against ZETA if they still want to look for control here and if they still want to stay in this best of 3.
And now, take a look at the items. We are this close to Bruno getting fully slaughtered when it comes down to the itemizations. Perhaps we're almost there, but in the meantime, the Farsa only has got 6.4 thousand gold.
Falling behind, 135.
Falling behind a lot, Peacekeep. I think it really boils down to his positioning, actually.
Oh, and to make things worse, look at that additional item coming in from I Did. That's a Divine Glaive built in on top of everything else in his kit.
Oh man, this is kind of tough to swallow, huh? ZETA Division is slowly losing out in terms of farm, and Peacekeep is so far away from establishing good damage to Niightmare. So everyone else is just it tickles kind of thing, right? I Did. He's tanky with the Blood Wings. He's got great slows coming in from the swipes and got good damage when it comes down to the pops as well.
That's why these margins were ever as important, right? Yeah, look at that. Number 1 on damage dealt rankings. That's I Did. Mui Minette falling a little bit behind there as the first in his team. And the big problem is, if he gets taken out before the fight even occurs, then that's going to be a big problem. You highlighted it best, I think, Abstract. I think ZETA Division were on a ticking time bomb. They went full into this combination between Kani and Mui Minette, the Diggy and Bruno combination, but they didn't capitalize over it before Niightmare Esports were able to get to the power spike. So now they have to really think about this because technically they also don't have too many people that they can send to the far lane to control and utilize in the Lord dances.
Exactly. Not much of a thing that they can do when it comes down to the macro. Because right now what they're doing is pure micro, play for team fights, just ube the crap out of everything. So the moment that Too Easy for Lexi finds the avenue, from the back lines, completely blindsided ZETA Division. Where did that come from? As ZETA Division now finds itself absolutely demolished. Jasmine manages to find himself running away with just a sliver of health. The ones left is going to be 10 as well as June, the only 2 front lines, because this is a back-to-front fight coming in from Niightmare Esports. Where are all the damage? They're all dead.
One more away from a wiped out. Ladies and gentlemen, things are going ever as wrong for the Japanese reps here in ZETA Division. We haven't seen them in half a decade on the international stage, and it looks like that journey will end here.
It's all on Peacekeep now. He only had 4 seconds to come back in June 1. Needs to buy as much time as possible to clear out every single one of these ways, and it does him! They managed to clutch it out! They held on from the imminent push in the middle lane. Peacekeep wait! He flickers on forward and catches by Lucy!
And they're able to prolong their lives. Suke finally stepping up here in the 17th minute of the game, prolonging ZETA Division's tournament life here at the MSC wildcards as they once again are going to be able to fight back with 26 seconds left on the clock for Bailucci. They also don't have a jungler here. Ladies and gentlemen, this should be a Lord for the Jap reps.
There is no jungler from the side of Niightmare Esports. This is quite a swing. As the Lord now credited over to ZETA Division, this is not an evolved Lord just yet though. The only thing that ZETA Division could possibly be able to get is this T2 turret in the middle lane. If they're able to kind of force everything, oh wait, if this Lord actually lands the charge, then there's T3 down.
What a turnaround, Abstract.
What a change.
Man, this has been an up and down journey for both of these teams, and I think timing was just so good for Suke, right? Finally able to get that Holy Crystal.
Yes.
We saw the damage, and unfortunately, From the side of Niightmare Esports, they were clumped up as 3, so the damage went in full throttle. That's 10.
That's not good. Taunting down, and now they manage to lock down over to Jasmine. He's trying to walk away. However, the damage coming from Mui Minette is just a little bit too much. The Lord locks on over the turret. Cammy loses half HP. Junwan focuses and drones him away. As now the bravest warrior will be taking up to the front line while Audi opens up the RWM to hopefully zone everyone else away. As Junwan, he lost his immortality. He tried to focus down onto the turret in the middle lane, but they don't have got any creeps because they also didn't manage to bring down the T2. The creep wave slowly moves right in. Piske tries to be an artillery and snipe down onto I did, but he don't have the opportunity just yet. They managed to buy enough more time, and now Cammy goes down! ZETA Division! They're climbing back as I did! The last member remaining at ZETA Division! They end the game and get themselves into game 3!
We're going all the way, ladies and gentlemen, as ZETA Division fights back here in game number 2. They're not going to go down without a fight. What a way to end this day. Woo! ZETA Division.
I can't, man. Oh my god. To be right at the doorstep of exiting MSC Wildcards 2025 only for June to say, let me hold on the door for you. And kept it shut. PSK joined back in, and you know what? He may only have 3 items, but he got the job done.
Finally showing up in those final moments. We were even talking about the Farsa, right? We weren't feeling the damage, we weren't feeling the impact, the influence. Meanwhile, this was a Farsa first pick. But it turns out he was just a sleeping beast, right? A sleeping giant, finally able to get that Holy Crystal, being able to dish out the damage. Was able to protect that base and prolong it for things to turn completely around for Niightmare Esports as they lost the ball as it was rolling for them.
It shouldn't be the case for Niightmare. It truly shouldn't. The fact that they lost the timing into the middle lane, I think that they don't really have a choice there. I don't blame Niightmare for not being able to end the game. The timing from June, buying time and allowing PSK to come in and get the kill, I think that that is fine because they have one shot and they will take that shot. But what happened to Jasmine? I think that turned the game completely upside down. The fact that he was in their own jungle, in the small little pixel brush, to gain information for something that they don't need because the Lord is already marching down to the bottom lane. You would expect an escort team for the Lord because that is a guaranteed T3 takedown.
Yeah, this was the moment, right? Jasmine gets taken out first. Oh man, it's just really unfortunate for Niightmare.
This truly shouldn't have happened for Niightmare. If they, on hindsight, if they defended from the base and maybe even given away the T3 turret, it's okay, it's fine. They still have opportunity to come back.
They did. But once again, we're going 1-1 here. Gideon is back. Thoughts on game number 2?
Oh, thoughts. What can I say? Everything that we mentioned about weak points from both of these teams really came to show, but I gotta give it on over to ZETA Division. These guys, they're throwing up the sign. Remember this. They're looking for tournament lives, but more importantly, that late game scaling is what saved them at the very end. Obviously, Diggy didn't look very good from early to mid, but then once Busuke was getting his items, once we and I gotta give it up. You saw the players down there, and they were even showing it to the cam. They were like, Junwan, this guy just saved us the game. He carried them mid to late. He was the one that was turning these fights around.
If not for him, for just buying all that time. And when it comes down to tempo, it's always been the thing that I've been trying to say. Junwan needs to play heroes to lead them from early to mid. Play around their jungle, and as long as he's the one that's kind of like holding everyone's hand, let's go forward, it should be all right.
Big brother Junwan. Just got to open up the way, open up those bushes, and maybe they'll turn things around. Honestly, I really thought that this Diggy was kind of troll. At first, I was like, nah. And then Niightmare played into it by locking in the Yiv, and I'm like, well, what is happening here? Why are we doing this? There's a lot more to discuss, but It just means that we're going to get that game number 3. The match is currently 1-1 between Niightmare Esports and as well as ZETA Division, looking to continue their run here at MSC's Wildcards. We're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, it's going to be more Mobile Legends action.
This land is calling.
With tournament lives on the line, only one team gets to move on. Will it be ZETA Division currently at match point, or Niightmare Esports who are also at match point? One game to determine who moves on here at the Wildcards at the 2025 Esports World Cup in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. My name is Gideon Q, and we're taking a serious turn with this one because it's the very last match of the day, boys and girls. We've got Abstract as well as Eterna at the desk here. And I mean, everything that we talked about, the potential weaknesses that could be exploited, and worse yet, the bigger win conditions for ZETA reaching to that late game, for Niightmare closing out that game. How do we fix this at this point? Because we were talking this beforehand, Abstract. You're saying that, like, Niightmare, they look like their mentals have broken there after that one.
Honestly, if I'm in their shoes, I don't even know how I can mentally recover from that. This is rough on them, right? They were literally a sneeze away from bringing down that entire crystal, only for a random June 1 to come in between.
It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. I mean, I'm surprised that Diggy got away in this game at all, considering that they had two ways of actually trying to make plays in team fights.
What did you think about the Diggy pick, by the way?
Honestly, I thought it was kind of, at the beginning, I thought it was kind of troll, and then it's like, all right. But I felt like Niightmare played into it with the Yves pick at the very end. Yeah. That could have been Chang'e for all intents and purposes. That could have been like, arguably, even a Kadira to a certain degree. I mean, it's personal opinion. I could definitely be wrong. We'll see how this meta continues to develop as we are now going to make our way into the draft. The final time we might see one of these teams, and it's stressful, very, very stressful, but I think...
Shrug it off.
We need to talk about adaptability as well as flexibility here. Eterna, I feel like Niightmare isn't as comfortable like adjusting on the fly compared to ZETA.
I agree. I think we saw that actually happening in the game, especially in game number 2. It was very apparent.
Very
right.
apparent.
They had a one idea coming through. If it fails, it seems like they don't know what to do, and it feels like the way that they were able to play very neatly from the early game becomes really messy in the late game, right? With Jasmine getting picked off first. I think it's a mental thing. I have to agree with Abstract. I think this is one of the times where they're on an international stage. They're going against the very best of the best from their respective regions coming into the wild card, and they have to learn to reset.
Yep. For that game, if you're talking just from the draft, you mentioned about the Eve. The great thing about Eve, you keep people contained in the box, be it the slow or hitting the edge. But the moment that the Diggy comes in, none of that is affected. It feels as though Niightmare just you know what, screw it, let's just stick to our original draft and just play towards that lane. But in the meantime, for the Hayabusa, the moment they realize that opponents playing Ube, there's nothing that Hayabusa could do with his OG Shadow Kill anymore. He's trying to look for angles, but not really utilizing the entirety of the map and his mobility to play the macro game.
That's the thing. The tunnel vision seems to be very, very apparent for Niightmare, especially when it's like, we've tried it 2 times. It's like, one more. Third time's the charm. 17 minutes into the game. 8th time's the charm, guys. This time, I'm sure we'll be able to get a Sky Piercer stack somehow. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. And I totally agree with you. They should have played throughout the rest of the map. There was multiple opportunities for them to actually pull attention away and understand that, yes, neutral objectives are important, but it's not necessarily what's going to win you the game, right? So with missing inhibitors, and especially that scenario where it's like, you don't have to just take the Lord. You can kind of hold it hostage and threaten the base every single time. But coming into game number 3, do you think we're going to see this Diggy again? Because the biggest contestation I've noticed so far has to be that Farsa.
To see the Diggy again? Probably not. But I think this entertaining kind of style from ZETA Division is definitely coming back to the 3rd game. As long as they're able to throw some curveball, you know, it's not straights all the time. You gotta throw a curve. You gotta drop the ball at any time and just be like, oh crap, what do I do as Niightmare?
When are we gonna see that fastball? We're gonna jump right into it. Niightmare Esports on the blue side, ZETA Division on the red side. Eterna, Abstract, good luck. Take this draft away.
Thank you so much, Gideon. We're going to game number 3. Once again, match point for both of these teams. And once again, we want to highlight how important these drafts are going to be. Will we be seeing another crazy kind of a scenario coming in from ZETA Division, or will we be seeing just the meta coming through? But it's also important to note that these 2 teams have actually opted to swap sides.
Now, what's the change-up? That is the question for the side of ZETA. I know that this is going to be super intense coming into this draft, but the teams, they're taking the time, they're making it slow, right? And that's completely understandable. I do want to break the air a little bit. Take a look at the player portraits. For this whole time, I always thought that every single one of these players have the same exact earrings.
They're boxes, aren't they?
Yes, boxes. But I thought that they were
I also thought they were earrings. I'm gonna be honest with you here.
High five.
Wow. All right. Okay. So, guys, those are boxes, by the way.
Those are boxes.
But coming back into the drafts here, once again, the Kalea will not see the light of day, and neither will the Wanwan. So, we've seen in the past 2 and now 3rd game that Niightmare has really big respect over for this YSS, and as well as towards, you know, the gold lane, the 1-1.
Let's not forget about the Uranus as well. Effectively every single game, game
You're
1
right.
and 2, Uranus is out. They just don't want to go and deal with June 1. In fact, I think from the previous game, they know that June 1 is exceptionally the exceptional player, the key player of the team. As much as possible, try to probably deny his picks if his picks are just not viewed or picked up in the first phase. Uranus has to be the 3rd ban here. If Niightmare don't ban the Uranus, I think that it's gonna be in the field of ZETA Division.
But we've seen that the Uranus kind of fall short. What is it?
They didn't ban the Uranus.
No, they didn't. They
But
banned out the Bruno instead.
Niightmare, they have first pick, but they have never had the opportunity to, or rather they have never picked Uranus first pick, even as first pick, first ban in their previous series.
So you don't think that they will pick it up here?
I don't know.
I mean, technically, ZETA still have the opportunity to ban out the Uranus.
That is if ZETA thinks that they don't have the answer to an opponent's Uranus? Do they want to take the chance? I think that this is a very difficult choice to make. ZETA, do we want to risk it for the biscuit? Give the Uranus? Or don't give it?
Nope, they decide not to. They don't want to risk it. They don't want to take too many risks here in game number 3, where everything is on the line for them. Once again, an elimination match here, boys and girls. Now, Niightmare have the pick of everything. Technically, Baxia is available if they want to go for that. Really good flex. We've seen the Baxia work out here and there. Technically, it did lose in the previous game, but still that flexibility is quite important.
Yes, the flexibility was definitely the way to go. But Jasmine needs to change the way he plays with that Baxia. Time and time again, he got caught, and it has always been the same layering of skills, right? The Fredrin goes in, locks him down with a couple of knockups plus the taunt, and then the D holds him in place. They just gotta have to do this. ZETA just needs to draft the same thing, right? Having the Juicin available, this might just be a Juicin Fredrin pick if they really want to.
I think they can wait for the Fredrin. I mean, technically, the Baxia can still be flexed.
It's too flex, that's why. Do you, are you, would they rather be interested, or are they okay with the Fredrin going over to them?
I guess not.
Yeah.
You're right. Fredrin does get picked up here. So now Niightmare are caught in a position to try to answer this Jushin pick. I think, honestly, why would they not just pick up something like the Kimi? Kimi has better range against the Jushin, faster clear as well.
Yes, I think that is going to be a direction that we can go for. The orthodox pick is a Kimi, and with the very fact that they have a boxer, perhaps they can kind of still keep that in the loop, right? So perhaps pick up a Kimi as the mage, and then get an XP laner.
Unless
there we go.
Yes, Lapu Lapu gets picked up here, and the Kimi. Okay.
They need to deny the Lapu Lapu from June 1 too. So as long as they're able to still make things ambiguous for their Baxia, and if they were to pick up the Kimi, is also some ambiguity for that side too, because Kimi can go gold.
Do we really want Kimi to go gold though?
I'm not a big fan, but she hurts a lot.
She does, but it requires a lot of setup, I think, for the Kimi to actually work. The Eureka thing that I had in my head earlier on was, would it be crazy if they went Angela here for Niightmare?
Angela for Niightmare. I think that is a viable option for both of them. So this can very potentially be an X factor coming in from both Niightmare and ZETA. If they want to further solidify the positioning, or further solidify the prowess and the survivability of Jasmine, if he were to play that as a Baxia, then at least the Angela can keep him alive and buy so much time and space.
That's true. They both can actually utilize it, flex it into roam, right?
Yes.
Technically, both teams already have picked up the mid laners, but let's ignore the Angela for a second here as we're getting to the second phase of the drafts. What bans are we looking for from the side of ZETA? Do they want to take away heroes like the Granger, the Irital? Oh, there you go. Still Angela, all right.
Okay. Decided to take the Angela out. I thought that perhaps they would want to do that instead, considering the fact that they have the final pick. But I think that because of the performance coming in from, who's that, VP, right? Yeah, I think the performance from VP kind of made things a little bit too tough for them to let that go.
Because I don't think you can use Angela into the Baxia. That's the problem. Like, face value, the Fredrin can work with the Baxia, but if you utilize the Angela into the Baxia in the early stage as well, the anti-regen passive coming from the Baxia, I think, would render the Angela a little bit useless.
That's a good point as well, yeah. We may have saw a crazy combination between the Juicin and then Angela, but perhaps against a Baxia, that's probably a better choice to make. But right now, most of the jungles is actually open still for Niightmare, because the Baxia could go roam, but in this case, gold laner might be the case. Might be the ban for ZETA.
Yeah, we're looking at heroes like Granger, Irital.
Yep.
do they really... Okay, Bruno's banned out, so that's not an option that they can go for. Wan's also banned out, so those are the two heroes I think I'm thinking about.
Irithel and who's that again?
Granger.
I'm sure the Nightmare will be happy with picking up a Granger for themselves if they really want to.
Play for the early game. I think it's possible, right? Really quick rotations. Put the Baxia in the roam. Kimmy also should be able to rotate quickly as well as compared to the Jushin in the early stage of the game. I think that's a warranted choice with the Matilda also banned out.
We're lacking of a roamer. We're lacking of an XP laner. I think ZETA definitely needs to get that picked out. They need to secure June's pick. Uranus, Gatokacha, Volvius, Badang roam. Okay.
Unless...
I don't mind that because there's still flexibility in that.
Is this for ZETA? It's for ZETA, right?
For ZETA, yeah.
Technically, if they want to, they can still go for CC. Does the CC do well in lane against a Lapu Lapu?
I would say that she is not fabulous, not the most fabulous answer against Lapu, because Lapu don't have a very thick HP. He does, though, have very crazy healing potential.
Abstract.
Oh my goodness!
That's the chip! That's a chip debut here in the MSC Wild Cards. We were talking about this chip from
Left
even
open
before
for
this
so
tournament
long.
started, and finally we get to see it come to play. But remember, the ceiling on this chip is incredibly high. You either do really well in terms of map control, or you do really, really bad, depending on how the communication is within the team.
Nitpicking though, why not leave the chip for the final pick? At least if they pick up a Badang, if they really want to go for that, then at least it will show like, hey, I've got a roamer down, so you don't have to be too afraid, kind of thing, right? And it's even gonna be a pretty good final pick because you are responding to a full draft from Nightmare. It solidifies if whether, hey, chip is gonna be great here, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think it would be really nasty, right, to have the Badang and the chip on the same side because you have ready to fight players coming through. And so Nightmare, they sniff that out real quick, right? They take away the Badang for themselves. It should be Badang roam. Granger gets picked up like we mentioned earlier on. And then the Masha final pick in for ZETA.
Okay, so the pulled off the Masha pick going up against Nightmare, who they themselves also did the Masha. So now we're back to the same kind of problem where you lose in the XP. You potentially lose in the gold because let's be honest here, based on statistics and facts, Muiminet has never won in his lane before.
I think if we're going back to the Masha point, I think it really depends. Again, we were thinking about ready to fight heroes, right? So the Badang came into mind, but the Masha can also replicate the same thing. So what if the Masha just clears, waits for the portal, and looks for pickups around the map? I think that's pressure that we might be looking at. As, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we are ready. Elimination match 1 game away. Will Nightmare continue their journey here in the Wild Cards, or will it be the Japanese representatives in ZETA division? Let's jump in to game number 3.
Both of the junglers is going to be starting onto their purple buff first. So ZETA division have got a bit of emphasis over to the gold lane while Nightmare Esports down to the XP. It does seem like we are having quite a bit of party here, as Jasmine by Lucy as well as ID has already shown themselves down at the bottom. No reason for the chip to further involve himself, but it does seem like the middle lane ZETA division is there first. So if they want to head themselves up to the top lane, they can definitely do that.
See, I think taking a look at the emblems here, they are looking for that kind of strategy, right? Because if we're looking at it, that's Lethal Ignition. We also have the Assassin emblem coming through for June 1. So he's looking to one-shot. We'll see whether or not he'll be able to get to that point, because as it stands in the lane, it looks like Bai Lucy is having a little bit of a better time in controlling in these waves.
Bai Lucy can definitely clear out the waves a lot better. Well, in the meantime, June playing as the Masha have got very weak clears. And it's only on later on where he could just jump 3 times as every time she expended her HP bars. Then we'll be able to see that kind of burst, right? Because June has picked up the Lethal Ignition. So he has one job only in the late stages of the game, and that is to burst the marksman. As long as they are able to take away Cammy, then all's well. That is their current structure, and that is their current game plan.
Cammy and I did. both of them, right? Both of them are going to be problems
right,
in the
yes.
late
You're right.
stage, which is why I think that's why they went, like, you know what? Let's just go for it. Let's just go for the Masha, because at some point they do need a way to kind of counter these two marksman heroes. But both teams already centering around the next neutral objective, the first one of the game, rather. It looks like it will be given over to Too Easy for Lexi for free.
They are not really interested dealing with Baxia's tankiness and, of course, the early game raw damage that the Baxia brings over to his kit. So ZETA Division, with their draft, they can kind of play things a little bit slowly. They don't have anything that plays that allows them to work out in the early stages. So as long as they kind of keep themselves afloat, they are gonna be fine, and both the Moskov and Masha can pop off online later on, roughly about 15 minutes into the game.
I agree. I think they just need to buy a little bit more time here for the rest of the members to get to that power spike. So meanwhile, Niightmare, they're the ones kind of on a ticking time bomb. Technically, they do have IDIT to kind of go into the later stage of the game, but because of the control that they have over the river, I think maybe play a little bit more aggressively, right? I think the idea of the invade was already great, but now it seems like ZETA are the ones that are rotating a lot quicker.
They do have got the chip. So as much as possible, if the chip wants to be at the top lane or the bottom lane, it can definitely do all of that. June is actually taking this fight pretty well, putting Bai Lucy in the tough spot. Kani rushes right in, pops off the shortcut. Everyone came in. This is a whole family in here. However, it's going to be following up with the traction pulse. Jasmine just going to be putting June right into the coffin.
All right, a 1-for-1 trade from that particular skirmish. June 1 for Bai Lucy earlier on. Unfortunately, that kill went over to IDIT, so I think
it's IDIT. Yeah,
it's a little bit more worth it for NM in that particular trade.
I would say it's still relatively equal, since June himself also wants farm, right?
Yeah.
So practically nothingness. Whatever that they have got for each other is pretty much nothing. It's mostly all about what we have throughout the map, because right now Niightmare have got a well under 1,000 gold lead against ZETA Division. Perhaps this turtle is going to tell us a little bit more of a story, as it is going to be a completely uncontested turtle.
Yeah, they're not going for it at all. They're leaving it completely wide open for Niightmare to take for themselves. ZETA Division looking to play around the EXP lane a lot more. I think you're right here. We do see that there is rotations coming in from Niightmare here towards the bottom side of the map, but June 1 already got a little bit of gold there from that shield turret.
Slow and steady is going to be the name of the game for ZETA Division. Too Easy for Lexi picks up the very first item, being the blade armor. So that is definitely something that will help him against such a physical-sided draft, right? Both the Moskov and the Masha.
Meanwhile, we do see another thing happening here. Thunderbelt already secured in for Jasmine. Just a little bit more regeneration, a little bit more adaptations coming through if they do go in for yet another team fight. Cammy in this 1v1. I don't know if Cammy knows Kani is there, but oh, he does. He spots him out.
Did
He's
he
playing
hit?
it safely.
Yeah. Both teams, it feels as though both teams have got a very similar power spike, actually. The only thing that I'm really afraid of is the potential of Bai Lucy, right? When he pops off, is definitely going to be scary, right? But the fact that Too Easy for Lexi is unable to take control or the reins of this game in the early stages, because that is just what's great about Abaxia, right? The possibility of early game invasions with the mobility that you have for yourself. He does have well over 500 gold lead on top of the Fredrin though, but it's not big enough for them to make an impact.
This is a very interesting game, isn't it?
Interestingly slow.
Interestingly slow. I think both teams are really afraid of making a mistake.
As such, it's going to be Jasmine finding himself in the top spot. As such, he will be able to get himself away, but in the meantime, the Spear of Destruction will land on the Cammy, allowing Junwan to pop him off. IDIT is also going to be the next one down for the count. This is one entire family that just decided to take the portal up to the top lane.
And that's the chip power coming through. Jasmine going to be the next one on the chopping block.
As it doesn't seem like Jasmine is able to stay alive. Too Easy for Lexi. Why did you come in? Maybe you will be able to get a kill on the Muimina. but he misses the shield. He still manages to get a kill on down to Mui Minette
No
though.
way.
But right now, Doozy for Lexi takes a double.
No way, you're not supposed to be able to get away with that. That was a 1v3 kind of situation. We thought that was a blunder.
Yeah.
But too easy made that kind of equal for them. Granted, ZETA were still able to pick up the turtle. Wait a second, Suke.
They're jumping on the Fiske, bringing him down. A good taunt down onto IDID, almost being able to do enough damage onto IDID. I think that this is a lot more about a mental game for Niightmare Esports. They were afraid the whole time. Only when Too Easy for Lexi took those 2 kills up top, he's just thinking, hey, wait, I have a lot of damage. What am I afraid of? And that's why
Morale
they
is up.
took middle.
Exactly. Morale is up now for Niightmare Esports. As we take a little look into the items. 2 items already built in for Mui Minette though. 1 away from that trifecta that is needed, the Swift Trinity.
Look, the movement is completely different now. They're so much more aggressive.
That's true.
They're showing confidence.
Too easy. What's the call here? Waiting for the clear here. I think they are trying to bait out a push potential coming out from June 1.
Huh? Did I pick up a roam boots? I think I did. Wait,
It could be. It could be.
oh, maybe it's just visual. Perhaps it's just visual.
It could be, right? Because usually we do see some swaps in the roam.
But I saw
boots.
Cammy with the icon as well.
I think if
So
they
by
fall
losing-
far behind,
Oh.
that's something that is usually done. We can actually ask Gideon, I think, to break that down a little bit further later along the line. But we have seen that before. We've seen it
Wait.
a lot in MPL ID. That's a
Four
concealed
roam.
play.
They
coming
did
through
get
from
4 roam
Niightmare
boots.
Esports.
They did get 4 room boots. Oh, but hold on a second. It does seem like we do have Kani coming over to the back line. So this shotgun is just going to be popped right at the backside. Cammy finds himself going to be taken down. IDID is just going to be holding himself on over to the backside. It doesn't seem like things are going to be great for her though. But Piske finds himself taken down. Jun is still looking for an opportunity though. 10 as long as Mui Minette realizes, hey, look, this is not our fight to take. Let's back off now.
2-for-2 trade from both sides. Wait a second, June 1.
Too easy for Lexi. He's gonna be the funnel of this team. The entirety of Niightmare Esports bought themselves roam boots, and the funnel will entirely go over to the Boxia. Even Cammy.
Let's hope the items come out so we can actually verify that. There it
Every
is.
single one of them
2.
has it.
You're right.
It's only the Boxia that have the jungle boots.
Because usually we see either, the gold lane pick it up or even the mid lane pick it up, but this is all 4.
I would understand XP laner picking it up because they want to funnel it over to the gold lane, or the mid laner is like, oh look, I'm a pause 4, not a pause 3. Let me just give it to the pause 3 and just allow someone else take it like an SP laner. But in the meantime, by Lucy jumps himself over to the back lines. Mui Minette taking some free shots, but unfortunately, I think his positioning is a little bit tough. As Too Easy for Lexi will drive himself right in his face, getting himself a killing spree. This is actually pretty gonna be big. By Lucy finds himself taken down. IDID is gonna be the next one down as well, as Jasmine just flickers himself forward, getting a kill down onto IDID.
3-for-3 trade so far, but it looks like they're still looking to gain some more here. Suke goes in for the control over to Too Easy for Lexi, but misses. The Lord is still going to be given over to Niightmare Esports, but unfortunately, with so many members taken down, the big question is, will they be able to extract the utmost potential from this Lord take?
I would say that this is likely concerning if they want to funnel all the farm over to the Boxia. How long would his power spike be even if he gets all these items? He can be really tanky and all, but I worry for Cabby. We'll see how that goes. Maybe survivability is more important for everyone else, or rather survivability is more important for Boxia in order for them to win this game. As middle lane, T1 finds himself taken down, and Kani has been spotted out. Traction Pulse didn't land.
Either or, right? Too Easy for Lexi is 2 levels ahead of 10. So when it comes down to neutral objective contest, and in this particular regard, the Lord, ZETA Division are falling quite behind. They should not be able to go for the contest unless they are able to. Wait a second.
It's gonna be 10. Soaking up quite a bit of damage. SOD lands over to the back line. Piske is actually in a very, very aggressive spot. Kani taking a little bit too much damage. Pops out a shortcut, only for Kani to be taken down at this point in time. The Appraisal's Wrath unfortunately wasn't able to do too much, but he will at least stay alive. IDID's down. Mui Minette managed to catch that 1 kill. As now, ZETA Division, they're moving on forward.
Yes, and they're going to be able to still defend the base as well, not losing a single inhibitor turret with 3 members down in the ground. Despite everything, despite ZETA division falling behind, it's only a 1,000 gold difference, Abstract. So at this point in the game, I still think that this can sway either way.
It actually might go towards the side of ZETA division a little bit better. How are they going to do this? So if they're trying to get income, oh no, you know what? I'll just let Niightmare Esports play this out. We do have Granger that can farm pretty effectively in lane, so even with that, with the roam boost, it's not going to be that big of a deal. It's mostly about the passive income that will go over to the side of for the members. That is more or less all.
If we're looking at the damage dealt rankings here, you can see the top 3 there, and I think Muiminette was able to get his hands on an additional item, the Malefic Gun, already in his arsenal. Gonna have a little bit more range to play with, more so in these team fights, which I think will be very important because we saw in that previous skirmish the fact that he was able to jump into the back line, take IDIT down. I think that was huge for ZETA division to come back in this game 13 minutes in. The Lord finally has spawned in the Land of Dawn. 10 is catching up, level 14, but he is still a level below, up too easy for Lexi. So how are they going to play this?
I think that Muiminette is more or less online at this point. June 1,
yeah.
I gotta have to look up for him if whether he's got more than enough burst to realistically be able to do anything to Cammy or I did. He's currently disappeared from the map. He's not going to be showing himself down at the bottom just yet. Niightmare poses himself for this dance against the Lord.
Oh, that's a spear.
It's going to land. The Lord is currently still not going to go anywhere just yet, as now June 1 flickers straight into the eyes of Idid, slams him right down. There's nothing that Akimi could possibly do. Kami is still alive only until now. Exactly what they wanted from June, to snap right onto these 2 marksmen. And what's left is going to be the frontliners of Niightmare Esports.
That's exactly what the Masha was built for, and that's why Kani was standing so patiently in that top side of the map. They're going to go all in here, 3v2, and look how much damage Muiminette is doing into this. Can they look for an end here?
They might potentially be able to, or maybe not, because Idid is coming out right now. The fist break and fist crack pushes ZETA division away.
But remember, the Lord is still marching in favor of ZETA division, right? These players are going to be coming back, and remember, ZETA division still has the chip. They can still utilize the portal to bring the players where they want, when they want. So, with the additional range that, of course, Niightmare Esports have, they should be able to clear this unless they find a big play here.
Good macro game from ZETA division. They have got the Masher all the way out the top lane with a taunt down onto Lexi, while Muiminette suffers a bit from the traction pulse. Not going to be a problem though. At least we've got all of the T2 turrets that is destroyed. ZETA division slowly inches their way to victory.
2 waves are crashing. That's a big wave as well on the top side of the map. I think ZETA division are playing this really smart.
As the portal goes over to the backside, I'm trying to look for exactly where June1 is, but it doesn't seem like anyone on the backline is going to be bursted down just yet. Doing it for Lexi, crashes down onto June1. The amount of damage is a little bit too much for him to handle.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult for them to look for the siege, right? Because technically ZETA division have a composition that works when Niightmare are out of their base. But if Niightmare Esports keep playing like this, if they turtle in their base, they have so much high ground defense, right? They have IDID, they have Cammy for that range as well, and ZETA division technically don't have any tools to work with if they want to look for that groundbreaking play, except for the chip, which the chip doesn't really work like a Luo Yi, you know?
Yeah. But the thing is, it allows the macro play for June 1. He can push the waves however he wants. He can put a lot of that macro game. But the most important thing is that June 1, the problem about the Masher is that he needs to run to the marksman. But if we have Chip, for example, conceal himself, jumps out of the back lines, drop the shortcut, that is a free passageway for a Masher to get closer to these marksmen.
But I think that still, again, only works when they go around the next neutral objective.
Yes.
So that's something that ZETA division has as an advantage over Niightmare Esports, considering they not only have the chip, but they also have the Moskov to play around.
Yes.
Right? So much options, so many tools that they can utilize to make this Lord dance in their favor, and not to mention, ZETA Division have control over the far lane because Niightmare Esports don't have that inhibitor turret on the opposite end of the Lord.
That's definitely a bummer. There's not a lot of things that Niightmare Esports can realistically do because they don't have that kind of cross-map play hero, except for Too Easy for Lexi.
Yeah.
But do you really want to throw your Baxia down to the bottom lane to clear waves? Because ZETA Division, they have a Moskov. This guy will blitz down the Lord right as you blink.
Exactly. It's so many tools on the side of ZETA Division, and Too Easy, he needs to be in the vicinity to be able to take this Retribution down. This time it's going to be a 50-50. Too Easy already at level 15. That's a Lord already at half health. Who's going to be able to pick it up?
Oh no. The Lord is ready now at 14,000 HP. They will try to go for this. Attraction Pulse is not going to hit anyone. PSK currently being just locked down by Jasmine, allowing the kill down for the Kami. But then he actually manages to get a kill down to the Kami, and it does seem like Ted is going to be the next one onto the block as By Lucy brings him down almost immediately. While I did brings Muiminat down. This is a losing fight coming in from ZETA Division.
A huge loss. Oh my lord, Niightmare Esports regain control here, but they still don't go for the base as soon as possible, right? They had to control the lanes that were still crashing in favor of them. They don't go for the Lord?
No.
Are they going for the straight push here with just one minion?
I think so. They gotta have to tank this quite a lot, right? By Lucy needs to tank every single one of these shots, but doesn't...
June 1.
They still have it. As now By Lucy is just making sure... Kani is just making sure that they will not be able to recall back home, but never mind, because there is still a portal coming from Kani. They need to do whatever that they can to ensure that Jasmine, as well as Jasmine and By Lucy will go down right now. As long as they're down, they are completely staggered, and it is a free evolved Lord for them to take.
Why did they do that? Why did they go for that decision? Why didn't they just commit over onto the Lord? Why go for the mix there? They know that ZETA Division has a hero like a Chip.
There's a lot of angles of attack for ZETA Division in that as well, right? Because Junwan was also making his way down in the bottom lane. They have effectively managed to pull IDID down. They managed to pull someone down all the way home to deal with it.
Unfortunate loss, either way. Unfortunate loss. That should have been Niightmare Esports Lord to have, and now ZETA Division once again hold control over the Lord.
Evolved Lord.
Evolved Lord. 19 minutes have already elapsed. We're looking at these items, and they're already at full. We have Wind of Nature's left and right. Niightmare Esports, they should have the arsenal to kind of stave off this pressure. Once again, they do have the high ground, but with no inhibitor turrets, let's see what ZETA Division is about.
They're looking for an opening. ZETA Division, as long as the portal jumps over to the back lines, allowing June to get himself onto Kami, that's the thing. By Lucy's HP is already dropped all the way through. Everyone is just going to be coagulated together. And the front line, doing it for Lucy, By Lucy, as well as I did. They're all down. ZETA Division breaks a lot. And they keep themselves in the MSC wildcards.
A reverse sweep from the Japanese region here. ZETA Division holding on to their strength, holding on to everything that they have, holding on, believing in one another to keep their tournament lives still here. Moving forward to the next chapter here at the MSC wildcards. And unfortunately for Niightmare Esports, Mekong